Donald Trump now calls Justin Trudeau governor. He suggested that Canada become America's 51st state. Is that all in jest or a serious consideration?
Well, it certainly is something that has been in consideration in America for a very long time, going all the way back to the founding fathers. In fact, there always has been a contingency plan about expanding the United States into Canada. It hasn't made sense over the past century or so. I think that the two world wars kind of forestalled that, and then we got into the Cold War with the Soviet Union and the Soviet bloc. But in the aftermath of that, I would say over the past 30 years, since Mr. Reagan left, I think that the situation in Canada has declined to the point where many Canadians are asking, well, gee, why are we an independent country? What are the benefits of that? Our standard of living used to mirror pretty closely the United States, but now even the richest parts of Canada would be behind states like Mississippi in terms of GDP and standard of living. And so I think that this is a time when it behooves us as people and indeed our leaders to look at all options, look at all possibilities, to do what's best for the citizenry and not necessarily for those who happen to have the privilege of governing us.
Well, Leighton, I don't need to tell you. I mean, Canadian provinces are split, very diverse. If you look at the Maritimes, Quebec, which over the years has had a secessionist movement, and the western states are all very different. So I don't see joining the U.S. as something that would happen to you.
It's a serious question. It certainly could, under certain circumstances. We could also have a situation where certain provinces which are more quote unquote American in the way that they behave and the way they govern themselves, for example, Alberta and Saskatchewan, who have very close political and economic ties to the U.S., they might want to join or at least have a very close association, almost borderless in nature. Borderless in a good way, not borderless in terms of not paying attention to the border, but borderless in terms of not having tariffs and having free trade, which benefits all parties. So these are things that I think need to be looked at closely. The question of Canadian sovereignty is one that has dogged us from the very outset. And this gets into a deeper discussion of Canada, what Canada is all about. But what Canada lacks as a nation is a sort of a uniting event. And America has a couple of really big ones. There's that revolution. And of course, there's the Civil War, which arguably was a second revolution. These are uniting points that really speak to Americans in terms of who they are and what they stand for and what their culture, what their country are all about. Canada has not really had those types of seminal events historically. And so there's always been a serious question in Canada in terms of uniting the country under guiding principles.
Okay, we'll see where all of this heads. Leighton Gray, attorney, host of the Gray Matters podcast. Thank you for joining us from Canada. We appreciate it.
It's been my great pleasure. Thank you.